Live from Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, this is SportsBash, presented by TicketBash.com. TicketBash.com, where memories are made affordable and where you'll never pay a service fee. SportsBash is also presented by Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund, a group of like-minded individuals trying to raise awareness to our future generations of all possibilities of success other than just college. For more information, visit www.lookwhomadeit.org. Sports Bash is also brought to you by the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Every customer is considered family at the Embassy Diner. Mention Sports Bash and get a free dessert with your meal. By Coach's Collectibles, your number one source for 100% authentic sports memorabilia and live public autograph events. Check them out online at coachescollectiblesny.com. Stay tuned later in the show to find out about the item of the week from Coach's Collectibles and also about their upcoming autograph events. And by the Marty Lyons Foundation, the official charity of Sports Bash Media. For more information, go to martylyonsfoundation.org. Hi again, everybody. Happy Friday to you. A special Friday edition of Sports Bash here at Governor's Comedy Club Podcast Studio in Levittown. I'm Peter Schwartz. Phone number to call, as always, is 516-465-3990. Make sure you are following Sports Bash Media on X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And make sure you are subscribing to Gov's Comedy Club Podcast on YouTube and Facebook. Sports Bash is now also available on Apple Music and Spotify. Later in the show, and excited about this, it's one of the oldest sports really in the world, but especially on the content. And you see what I've got with me here in studio, and it's not to hit Tony over the head with it. In case you don't know what this is a stickball bat. So older people might remember stickball being very, very popular. In like the 40s, 50s, 60s. My father, may he rest in peace, my father-in-law, may he rest in peace. Also, my grandfather, obviously, may he rest in peace, years ago, would always, tell me stories about growing up playing stickball in the street. My dad used to always say, if you hit the ball like one sewer, it was a single. Two sewers, it was a double. If you hit it, I think three sewers with a home run. I don't remember exactly what it was, but they would play in the streets. And the sport kind of died for a little bit. I just, maybe not died, but like went under the radar for a while. And, in the 80s and 90s, it kind of got revitalized. And now it's, revived to the point where there are now, leagues, popping up all over the place, and, including here on Long Island. So, and my kids play on a stickball team, the Gotham City Dragons, and they're eager to get back in action when the next opportunity comes for them. But I thought it would be a good spot here a little bit. It's fun. It's something a little different that we talk a little stickball on the show today. So I'm going to be joined in a little bit by Ron Babineau. He is the former commissioner of the United States Stickball League, and he was credited with revitalizing the sport, organizing it more in the 90s and in the 80s and 90s. And there's actually, and I didn't know this until I did some research on it, but there's actually an official U.S. Stickball League rule book. An older version of it is found at the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. Had I known that when we did the show there over the summer, when Bradley and Jared played at Doubleday Field, I would have tried to go see it. You have to ask if something's not on display. You have to ask the curator to bring it out. But had I known that, I would have asked to see it. So we're going to talk to Ron Babineau, former commissioner of the United States Stickball League. We're going to talk about the history of the sport of stickball. We're going to talk about how it got revitalized and where the sport is now. There's a couple of different versions of stickball now. The old traditional game that my father, my father-in-law, my grandfather, and anybody who grew up especially in New York, years and years ago, it was a fast pitch game, and you would put a strike zone on the wall if you played with a wall behind you, or there's also photos of Willie Mays, the great Willie Mays, playing softball in the streets of New York. So sometimes they just found places to play, and now there's a version of stickball where you're bouncing the ball. Just one bounce, the pitcher throws it from the mound, it bounces, and you hit the ball from there. And it could be played just about anywhere. It could be played on a regular baseball field. It could be played in a playground. So we'll talk to Ron. I just hit myself in the ear with the stick. And actually, the cool thing about the stickball bats, like they actually now produce stickball bats. I guess growing up, my dad and my father-in-law probably made it out of like a broomstick or whatever. And I think my son Jared made this out of a piece of wood I don't know if he got this at Home Depot or he got it at Michael's, something along those lines. You could actually buy professionally made stickball bats now. We'll talk to Ron about that. In fact, when we were in Cooperstown, they have those bat stores on the street in front of the Baseball Hall of Fame. And years ago when we took the kids there, they got personalized baseball bats, and now they have stickball bats. And the Cooperstown Bat Company had a really, really nice one. That was, obviously relevant to Cooperstown. But my son Jared made this bat, and be very, very creative with it. He got obviously the USA tape on this one, and I'm probably being laughed at by my kids watching this because I don't even know. I guess I'm holding it the right way. Yeah. This is supposed to be the top of it. I don't play. I just watch. And I actually called play-by-play of a stickball game a few months back. The kids were playing an exhibition game at a local Little League field. It was kind of like to tune up for a tournament. And they said, Dad, would you call play-by-play for this game? And I did. It was actually I was miserable about it because I didn't want to say no to my kids. But I thought it was kind of silly and I thought it was stupid. And then they said, oh, just, come on. And they set me up with a table. And I called play-by-play of a stickball game. So it was actually a lot of fun. Tony, you want to...
Yeah, similar to calling a baseball game?
It was very similar to calling a baseball game, yeah. And there was, there's a strike zone now. Like you have to, if you're playing the one bounce version of the game, there's a strike zone. So if you bounce it once and it lands in the strike zone, it's a strike. They never used to have anything like that before. And obviously, you can throw the ball at the runner to get him out. So it was a pretty cool experience. But I'm looking forward to talking to Ron about that. Let me just put that bat down before I hurt myself or Tony. Or maybe I'll intentionally do that later. We'll see. By the way, Tony Walker, my producer. And of course, you just heard him. He's the host of the Knock 'em Dead comedy show, weekdays from 11 to 12:30. You had a full house in here before.
Well, they're comedians,
Yeah.
They have nothing else to do.
They just follow the leader, right?
Exactly.
Have a host who's a comedian will follow. So we'll talk to Ron Babineau about stickball in a little bit. We'll also have What's Hot at ticketbash.com, the SportsBash Media poll question of the day, and we'll check out the Coach's Collectibles item of the week. By the way, get back to the stickball for just a second. I've actually tried, I've gone to take batting practice with the kids. It is not easy to hit the ball with a stickball bat. And they use a tennis ball that's got a limited bounce to it. But it's not easy. I mean, you watch we'll see some videos when we talk to Ron about kids' team playing stickball, and you'll see it's not an easy thing to do. So it's kind of unique. We'll talk about it and in a little bit. As you can see, I'm wearing my Marty Lyons Foundation sweatshirt. As you heard us talk about for weeks, last night at the Bourne Mansion in Oakdale was the Marty Lyons Foundation annual Wish Gala, and over 300 people were there last night at the Bourne Mansion, which is a magnificent building. For those who have not been there before, it's a magnificent building. It really is an old mansion that they turned into this catering hall, and it's just really, really nice. And over 300 people last night. Marty Lyons spoke very eloquently, and this is the 44th year of the foundation wrapping up as they head into year 45. And they continued. They have averaged over 44 years. They have averaged over $1 million a year raised for the Marty Lyons Foundation. And last night, people were so generous with their donations, buying raffle tickets, buying the tables with the proceeds going to the foundation. So it was a wonderful night. And there was a Disney theme to the event last night. There was a young girl whose wish it was to go to Disney, and they had a local performance group, actors, and they played the princesses of Disney, and it was a wonderful thing that they did. They proclaimed this young lady that they would be her guests, the guests at Disney, so they're sending the whole family to Disney. They gave her, the crown and all the outfits for it was just beautiful. They sung Be Our Guest, the Disney song, Be Our Guest. They did a performance of that there last night. And when these things happen, and there was a past wish child that was there too, that's now 30 years old, and they bring past wish childs back, and it's so heartwarming, and there's never a dry eye in the sky, especially for Marty Lyons. And I was telling Tony off the air before, I when I host the Marty Lyons Foundation NFL draft party, which, Tony, you have to come this year. I mean, we'll get a spot at the table for you. Cool. It's a wonderful event. Would love to have you there if you're able to make it. It's great. It's so much fun. It's at Great South Bay Brewery in Bayshore, and this year the Jets are getting, if they don't make a trade, they have 3 first-round picks, and the Giants will be active as well. But it's such a fun event. And the first time they asked me to do it like 5 years ago, and I knew Marty over the years, covering the Jets a little bit. Then he became a broadcaster. But I knew of him, he knew of me, and then a mutual friend of ours, Kenny Zor, went to go work for the foundation, and they started to involve me a little bit more and ultimately involve my family as volunteers. So I remember that when they first asked me to host the draft party, I get up there and I'm on the stage. I've got Marty Lyons to my right. I've got Kenny Schroy, who's the co-founder of the foundation, to my left. I got Greg Buttle up there. I got other former Jets. And the first thing that comes to my mind is, if you would have told 12-year-old Peter, sitting in the upper deck of Shea Stadium, that'd be hosting the Marty Lyons draft party, I told you were crazy. And that's how I feel. And that's, if you're a Jet fan and you're of my age, and you remember Marty Lyons as a player, you remember him as this big, ferocious, defensive lineman, part of the New York Sack Exchange, right? But beneath that, and this is why I think sometimes it's always great to get backstories of athletes, beneath that persona of being this big, tough, mammoth football player is really a big teddy bear, because he is a human being as well, and he's probably one of the best human beings I have ever met in the sports or even in life. What this man has done to help families and kids who have a terminal illness and just going through a hard time. And you talk about command of a room, and we're here at a comedy club, Governor's Comedy Club, and if you're a comedian, obviously, and I talked to Tony about this before, like if you're speaking to a crowd, whether you're a comedian, a public speaker, you're doing a show like this in front of an audience, whatever, you have to have command of the room. And I don't think in my 36 years of working in sports, I have ever seen an athlete, current or former, who commands a room like Marty Lyons does. And to hear him speak at all these events, whether it's the gala, his bowling, he doesn't really have a set speak, but he'll go around the room at the bowling event, but at his golf outing, at any of these places where he speaks, he is so eloquent, and you just hear his personal side. And 44 years ago, sitting down with Kenny Schroy and Kenny's wife Susan to come up with a way to help, and how do they do this foundation, and 44 years later it's still going strong, better than ever. There were 300 people at this event last night, and I don't know what the number was. I was waiting to find out from someone what the dollar figure was that was raised, but it's amazing, and it's because of Marty and Kenny also. Let's be honest, they co-founded it, but to see these people support, and my family and I, we are honored and privileged to be part of that event every year, promoting it, helping out at these events. It means a lot to us, and I know it means a lot to Marty and the whole staff to have all of these volunteers that sometimes, obviously it's always great to help with your checkbook, but sometimes the best thing that you can provide for someone is your time. And for all of these volunteers that continue to come out and lend their time and lend their efforts. I mean, it was like from my wife Cheryl at all these events is always going around selling raffle tickets. My boys have been to this too. They'll help carry boxes. Like last night, helping give people gifts that they won at the end of the night. And as simple as like, hey, Peter, here's a box of pens. Could you go around to all the tables in the room and just put like pens on the table? Like just a little thing like that helps out so much. And it winds up being a wonderful event. And it means a lot at the end of the night that you are helping families get through a very difficult time. So I commend Marty Lyons and Kenny Schroy. And I just got a text from Kenny Zor from the Marty Lyons Foundation. Over $100,000 was raised last night at the gala. So thanks to Kenny for that information, and Eileen and Crystal and all those people that work at the foundation. Just a wonderful night, and great to see a lot of people. It was also funny that somebody came up to me and said, it was a couple, and they were at the Paramount a couple of years ago, and they said, Peter, the last time we saw you, you were covered with marshmallow fluff. So they were at the Boomer and Geo Live when I was covered in marshmallow fluff. But it was nice to see so many familiar faces, new faces that were there last night. But at the end of the day, the most important thing was you were there to lend a helping hand, a few bucks here and there too. And there's this point in the night, I want to mention this before we go to break and get ready for our guest. There's a point in the night. So they raise money from the tickets sold, companies buy tables, you sell raffle tickets, but then there's also this moment in the presentation last night. They have these candles. Last night it was a wand because it was a Disney theme, but they go around the room and they start. It's called like the Wish raffle, and they go around the room and they start at $10,000. And if you want to donate $10,000, you hold your candle up in the air, and last night it was like a princess flashlight, and they go around and they get the donations of people who want to donate $10,000. Then it goes down to $7,500 and all the way down the line. Look, there's no donation is too small, so they get down to the point where if you want to donate $100 or $50, whatever it is, and they tell you what the money can go for. Like $10,000 funded 2 specially designed bicycles for someone who's physically impaired and can't walk. There was a dollar figure that provides an average wish, which is like $7,100 for the average wish that they produce. So it means a lot to me. And again, it's just for me to grow up a Jets fan and root for Marty and Kenny Schroy. By the way, I took a picture last night. Could you just show the picture of me, Marty, and Kenny, Tony, for just a second? Thank you. So this picture means a lot because I grew up watching these guys play, and I posted it on Instagram and Twitter and all those places last night. My son Bradley, the smart ass that he is, he responds to the picture, and he goes, "Look at this picture. Amongst the 3 of them, 43 career sacks and 16 interceptions." And of course, what do I produce to that? I produce nothing. So, so that it was a great event last night. My family and myself just so happy and privileged to be part of the foundation. So I wanted to wear my foundation sweatshirt today. And again, if there's anything you would like to do for the Marty Lyons Foundation, if you want to volunteer, or if you want to make a donation, go to martylyonsfoundation.org. All the information is there, and you can get more information. Again, I'm already looking forward to the draft party in April, because the Jets, as we know, they suck. So they're going to have 3 first-round picks, and probably they'll be high. So we'll see. But there's so many things that go on during the course of the year with the foundation, and we're so blessed. In any event, there were other things I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about the Jet game last night, which I did not see because I was at the gala. But again, no surprise they lost to the Patriots. And congratulations to Aaron Judge, who was named the American League MVP for the second straight year and third time overall. And by the way, there was some Mets news yesterday, Tony, before we go to break really quick. Carlos Beltran, Lee Mazzilli, and Bobby Valentine were all elected into the Met. What the hell was that noise out of your mouth? Let me go backwards once again. Carlos Beltran, Lee Mazzilli, and Bobby Valentine inducted into the Mets Hall of Fame. All three, to me, worthy. I'm not a Mets fan. You are. What was your reaction to hearing that news yesterday?
1 out of 3 is worthy, in my opinion.
Lee Mazzilli.
Correct. I used to love Bobby V, but I lost all respect for him from the moment he put the fake glasses on. And then ever since then, to cash in on it like it was something funny, that was a total disrespect to his coaching staff.
And Carlos Beltran, I know you're going to say because he sat there looking at
strike
pitch.
3.
Yeah.
And then, of course, what happened to him later on
right.
with Houston, yes.
Well, that's why I wanted to hear from you, too. I haven't discussed it at length with my family, who are all Met fans, but we'll do that at some time. Coming up next, after a quick break, I'm going to be joined by Ron Babineau, the former commissioner of the United States Stickball League. We're going to talk about the great game of stickball that is going through a resurgence, especially here on Long Island. We'll tell you about that when we come back right after this. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention SportsBash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage.
In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission: to bring moments of joy and hope to critically ill children by granting wishes that make their dreams come true. Since that day, we have touched the lives of over 8,500 families, raising over $43 million to grant wishes that offer a beacon of light in their darkest times. These precious wishes cost an average of $6,700 each, and your support is crucial to our mission. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. And with 76 cents of every dollar going directly to supporting our families, you can rest assured your support truly changes lives. The Marty Lyons Foundation operates 11 chapters in 14 states now, working tirelessly to reach as many children as we can. This dedication goes hand in hand with our commitment to transparency and accountability, earning us top ratings on Charity Navigator, Great Nonprofits, and Candid, which underscores our dedication to those we serve. The Marty Lyons Foundation grants wishes to children ages 3 to 17. And what really makes this foundation so special is our willingness to grant not only a first wish, but also consider a second wish to a child who continues to battle a life-threatening illness. We stand by these children, offering them hope and strength through the power of dreams, giving our children the courage to wish for more.
What's your purpose in life? Is your purpose in life to live in the big house and drive the nice car? No. Your purpose in this life is to make it a little bit better for those that follow and realize that we live for today to see a better tomorrow.
Visit MartyLyonsFoundation.org to learn more and get involved.
Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by Ticketbash.com and the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund. I'm Peter Schwartz. Phone number to call is 516-465-3990. And as I talked about on the Open, growing up when I was a kid, my father, my grandfather, and then later on in life, my father-in-law, may they all rest in peace, would always tell me about how they grew up, Bronx, New York City, whatever it might be, Brooklyn, playing the game of stickball. And there was a different, depending on where you lived, there was always a different variation of how you played the game. And the game kind of like didn't die, but it kind of wandered away a little bit. And in recent decades, the game has seen a rebirth, especially recently with leagues and tournaments popping up all over the country, especially here on Long Island where my kids play in a stickball league. And I thought it would be great to kind of go down memory lane, find out about the origins of the game of stickball, and find out how it got revived and where it is right now. And I want to welcome into the program the former commissioner of the United States Stickball League. He is Ron Babineau. Ron, it's Peter. Welcome to SportsBash. How are you today?
I'm fine. Thank you, Peter. Thank you for inviting me to come on and talk about stickball.
It's a wonderful sport. It's got a great history behind it. I don't think people who get exposed to it now, these days, realize the history of the game. And you are not only someone who played the game, organized the game, got it back to life, so to speak, but you're also a historian of the sport of stickball. So let's start with that. Tell us about the origins of the game and how stickball started and how it's evolved over the years.
I'd be happy to. Can I start our interview with a riddle for your viewers?
Sure, absolutely. We do the show from a comedy club, so we love riddles.
This is the riddle that I presented to the National Baseball Hall of Fame in my presentation last year when they accepted my United States Stickball League and myself into Baseball Hall of Fame. So here's the riddle. A man leaves home and makes 2 left turns only to come home and be greeted by 2 masked men. Who am I?
Well, you're either a baseball player or a softball player or a stickball player.
Yes. It was a man who just hit a home run. So he goes down to first, second, third, comes around and meets the catcher and the umpire, the 2 masked men. But going to answer your question, the origins of stickball, there is a myth that Abner Doubleday and his brother Ulysses Doubleday started the game of stickball during the Civil War while they were in the South. They were under another general, and the general they were under, he had cleared a pasture, and he wanted his men to get exercise and take their mind off the war, and he gave them broomsticks, mop handle sticks, and leather balls made of leather strappings. And he had them throw that ball to the other infantry with the sticks, and they would hit the ball and run the bases. Their rules were quite different at the time. In those days, when they had the rules, it was 4 strikes and you were out. Foul tips were not a strike.
Okay.
And you can throw the batted ball at the batter runner as he's running the bases. And if you hit the runner, he's out.
Yes.
So
that's a rule in the league that my kids play in right now. In the league where you have a bounce, they're allowed to throw the ball at a runner after the ball is hit.
Okay, so Abner's brother Ulysses, he's a major in the army. He's playing there under this general, and he tells Abner, "You got to come down here, check out what we're doing." And Abner comes over one day on his horse, and he's actually on the horse side by side with the general, and they're watching the men play this game of a form of baseball. But at the time, Abner asked the general, "What do you call this game?" And the general says, "Stickball." Okay. The war ends, and the 2 brothers come back to Cooperstown. They come up to New York, to Cooperstown, New York, and they make their first baseball field. But fast forward into, as time went on, the game of stickball really, you don't have to have a lot of money to play the game of stickball. No. And I'm going to take you back into if you can remember, no one remembers our age, but in the 1930s and 40s and 50s, there were kids on streets playing stickball with mom's broomstick or mop handle. They would cut it and come downstairs and play stickball. And this is their stickball bat. And they would play with a Spalding rubber ball.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they would play the old-fashioned one bounce. And they would bounce it into each other. Here are a couple of Spalding balls. One is very old. This one has a script, and this one. They would play with a rubber ball, and in some places, kids could play with a Pensy Pinky, made by the Penn.
It looks like you've got your own little. It looks like, Ron, you've got your own little Stickball Hall of Fame behind you.
Yeah. Well, this is my little museum in my home in Melbourne, Florida, and yes. So, I just want to get to 1951 and 50. Willie Mays really made the game of stickball very, very popular. He's a rookie, 20 years old, playing for the New York Giants, and he lives on 155th Street. And up the block is like St. Nicholas Street also combines with 155. And the kids, he lived on a first floor apartment. And the kids would knock on his door and ask Willie, "Hey, Willie, come out and play stickball with us." And Willie did. And he would come out. And once he started to do this, photographers and writers would come out. We had no internet there.
Right.
They're covering Willie Mays as a rookie for the New York Giants, playing the game of stickball. Now, there's a lot of photographs on the internet about that. After he was done playing stickball with them, he would have them buy ice cream. He would buy ice cream for the kids. As they were doing it so frequently, then he got the sports writers and the photographers to buy them ice cream. After he was done playing stickball, he would go back to his apartment and then change clothing, and walk a couple of blocks to the polo grounds to his job. Now, Willie Mays said at the end of his career, he had this amazing statement to a sports writer. You don't get to hit 660 major league home runs without learning to hit the breaking ball. And I learned to hit the curveball while playing stickball with youngsters in Harlem. So
I was saying, Ron, I was saying before, because I've gone to take batting practice with my kids when they were getting ready for a game, and I absolutely stink at the sport because it's not easy to hit. Even like they use a tennis ball now, and we've shown a picture of a couple of the tennis balls that are used to play stickball, but the hand-eye coordination that you have to hit, whether it's a Spalding bouncing ball or a tennis ball with a stick like this, whether it's an officially made stickball bat or something if you buy a piece of wood at a store, it's not easy to hit the ball in stickball. It's definitely an art.
No, not easy at all. In fact, the circumference around stickball bats well, let me say something. I standardized the game in 1984. But getting back to Willie, they were playing one version of stickball called the old-fashioned one bounce, which is still being played today on that 155th Street on Sundays, and they call it Willie Mays Way. The other version of stickball was you took the Pensy Pinky or the Spalding ball, and you bounced it and you hit it to see how far you can hit it. And then you could run the bases. But once there was so much car traffic on the roads, the game really got pushed into the 1960s, late 60s, into schoolyards, where then they took the game, the rules like baseball, but pitched to a box on the wall. And they fast pitch with a box on the wall. And if you hit the box, it's a strike. If your ball goes out of the box, it's a ball. But we played with tennis balls, and the tennis balls we played at the time could be white, they could be green, but they were not really good. That you had to burn the hair off of the tennis ball, singe them to a point where you can get a singed tennis ball. I think something like, you can see some singeing here, a green ball. And what happens is once you have it cinched, you can throw this ball 85, 90, 95 miles per hour, and you're going to try and hit it with the circumference of a stickball bat.
Right.
But we don't pitch from major league distance either. We pitch from 55 and a half feet out. And
so it's a little
major
closer.
leaguers pitch from 60 feet, 6 inches. And what I did, because I'm just going to go back a little bit, in the city streets, they were playing stickball, the old-fashioned one bounce. Every block seemed to have their own team. Every neighborhood seemed to have their own kids playing stickball by their rules.
Right.
And it was very popular. Then, like I said, it gets pushed off the streets of Manhattan, Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, into schoolyards. And at that point, they play a different version, fast pitching to the box. Now, at that point, I came in 1984, and I write my first rule book. I write a rule book. And this rule book is in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
That had to be so cool for you to come up with that. And now, like, for people who go to visit, and obviously it's hallowed halls. I was just there over the summer with my family, and I wish I would have known it was there because I would have asked the curator to see it. But for you, as someone who loves the sport so much, to have the Hall of Fame, acknowledge it and put that book in it, that had to be such a cool feeling for you.
Looking back, you're just going through it. I left my job in Manhattan, and I started to take out free ads on Cablevision in Long Island. Well, the Newsday, the Long Island Newsday, the Sunday, the leisure area, the leisure section, and I did it with the Daily News and the Post. And by the time a few years passed by, I have 264 stickball teams from the tri-state region, from New Jersey, Connecticut, Long Island, and parts of Rockland County, Orange County, play in this league, but they're standardized. When the old-fashioned one bounce was playing, like I said, in different neighborhoods had different rules. So if they ever did play with each other, they got together on the rules for the game that day when they're playing. In this way, when I knew that this game had a heartbeat, stickball had a heartbeat, I wrote a rule book, and that rule book standardized the game. How big that box is, how many inches off the ground, how wide, and how long the vertical lines are, and the distance of 55 and a half feet away, and then cones that you would get. Our players had cones to set up for a single, double, triple home run distance. So standardizing the game was the most incredible thing to do, because now I got 264 teams playing by our rule book at the time. Okay.
So now that the game has kind of re-evolved and it's come back, based on when you revitalized everything and got things standardized in the 80s and into the 90s, and now when you see the sport get to the point back, now where it's alive and kicking, and there's leagues all over the place. I told you we're going to look at some video of my kids. They play for a team called the Gotham City Dragons here on Long Island, and we're going to look at some video clips as we're talking. But when you see now in 2025, where you have people of all ages, whether they're adults and teenagers, kids, are now playing this sport that you love, that has such a history going back so many years. What does it mean to you to see this kind of revitalization of the sport of stickball now?
Well, I think what I would say is that I'm happy that stickball has a heartbeat. When I wrote that rule book, I also standardized the game with a score pad. And the score pad was designed to keep, a guy in a stickball game, whether you're playing 2 outs, 9 innings, or 3 outs, 7 innings, or 3 outs, 9 innings, you're going to get up a lot. So all these teams that I had in my league, I had to know what their stats were too, and I had to know who's on their roster. They could have 3 to 6 players to make a team anywhere in my league, and they were covered with insurance in case they got hurt. But You would put the name of the player on this score pad here, and whatever you did, single, double, triple, home run, strikeout, base on balls, hit by pitch, drive in the run, score run, it's all registered on this score pad. This was the most incredible thing to do, along with standardizing with a rule book.
Let me tell you something. You have my son Bradley, and Jared will be watching later when he's home from school, but my son Bradley loves to keep score at games. Every time we go to a game, he always comes up with different ways of doing score. And the fact that you've put that score sheet up, I'm sure I'm going to be getting a text from him any second with excitement that you came up with your own score sheet for this.
Well, I'll tell you, it keeps track of a person who may get up 10 times in a game, what you did. And you look, oh, wow, I did it. I hit a home run in the third inning, or it was a 3-run homer. But I just want to say something else. I played with a major leaguer when I was playing stickball in Long Island in the Woodmere Valley Stream area. Lawrence, Woodmere Valley Stream, Hewlett area. I played with a player named Peter Falcone. And Peter Falcone and I would play, and this is what you need, Peter. It's why I'm trying to revitalize the game and bring it back. I'm trying to, because I realize it can have a heartbeat. It's simple to play. All you need is a bat and ball. Well, Peter and I
What do you think of this one? My son Jared made this one out of this piece of wood and made his own American flag design on it. It could be so much fun to create your own stickball bat, and it's something that you really can't do with a baseball bat. But if you're playing stickball, I mean, you could be so creative with this.
Absolutely. It's a challenging sport. The hand-eye coordination, it develops it. And this is what I get at. When 1985 and 86 came around, the people playing on 155th Street asked me to come up and play with them their version of one-bounce stickball. And I got a chance to go up there and find out what Willie Mays had said. I learned to hit the breaking ball while playing stickball with the kids in the Bronx. Well, they were throwing me the rubber ball that it looks like it's coming to you and that you can just blast it away. But all of a sudden on the one bounce, it would jump out away from you. They had a curve or a knuckle way that they were throwing that ball. And I didn't do very good that day. But what Willie Mays was saying, is that he learned to lean in to those balls and catch them and then hit them down a couple of sewers down the same street. And by the way, if you hit 3 sewers down the road, you were king.
I was trying to figure that out because I remember, Ron, my father and my grandfather telling me, and my father-in-law too, telling me stories of hitting the ball across the sewers. And I know there was always this, designation of what each one. The other thing about stickball, part of the revitalization was a number of years ago, if you remember this, the Mets and Yankees recorded, I want to say it was it an Adidas commercial or a Nike commercial where you had members of the Mets and the Yankees were playing stickball in the street, and there was like a series of commercials. There's one where they say, the car is first base, and then Phil Rizzuto walks out of a building, gets into his car and drives away, and they said, okay, well, this rock is now the first first base. So the revitalization, like you said, goes back to the 90s when even the Mets and Yankees got involved in it.
I'll tell you something. I have been in a talk with people at the New York Mets. I was talking to them about, why don't you have a stickball bat day? Remember they used to have bat day?
Bat day.
Okay, at Yankee Stadium, you go home with a bat. Well, I brought this idea up. It was a little bit premature this year, but maybe next year. Maybe I'll approach the Yankees or the Boston Red Sox.
We don't care about the Red Sox. No. Maybe the Long Island Ducks will be interested in it.
Now, here's the thing I'm trying to revitalize the game about, Peter, is that I do have a web page, just UnitedStatesStickballLeague.com, all one word, or USSBL, that's the acronym. You put that in your address bar, you'll come to my webpage. It's just 1 or 2 pages, a landing page for now, very nice. And I'm trying to revitalize the game. What I'm looking for is a bat manufacturer who can come back and make stickball bats a game, putting it into the supply chain, like at places like Target, Ace Hardware, Cracker Barrel, Walmart, or Amazon, just to have the bat be available to buy.
There are some companies who are making it, because I know my older son Bradley got a professionally made bat from a company. I can't remember what the name of it is, but also we were in Cooperstown over the summer, and some of those stores, right on the street where the Hall of Fame is there, including Cooperstown Bat, they were selling professionally made stickball bats. So there are some out there, but I can understand, just from a cost standpoint, you'd want it in some of those stores like Target and Walmart, maybe even the mom and pop sporting goods stores that are still around, and sell them there.
We would like we did when we had Dunlop make the ball for us.
Yeah.
Dunlop made the official ball with my signature on it. The thing is, we need a company that could make the low felt tennis ball, the bats, 2 different companies in on a program, market it together with the rule book and the score pad. And you got a product on the shelves in these mass retailers that can now be attainable by the public.
Right.
And they can go out and play their own game, 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3 in the schoolyard. It's a big lift, but that's what I'm trying to do. And one of the first steps was to get a web page up, and I did that now.
Yes.
And the rule book and score pad are made, not ready to be sold yet. But I'm waiting to go to sporting goods shows in the wintertime to approach the manufacturers to see who would take a chance on bringing back the game of stickball with me.
Well, Ron, I cannot thank you enough for spending some time. It's such a wonderful sport. It involves, people of all ages can enjoy this great game of stickball. I know my kids love playing it along with their friends. And I'll tell you with this, and I think I could speak for them. I mean, it's not like I have any say in their roster, but I would say that, and I think I can safely say this, as someone like yourself who's a historian of the game of stickball, if you ever come back up to Long Island anytime soon, maybe we could have you be an honorary member of the Gotham City Dragons if you come up and catch one of their games.
That'd be wonderful. I would love it. By the way, what version of stickball are the kids playing?
They're playing the 1 bounce version. So they actually are, it's a 1 bounce towards the batter. And they actually have a strike zone on the floor. They created this strike zone that's around home plate. So if you bounce it and the batter does not swing, but the ball bounces in that strike zone, it's a strike. It's something that they came up with recently.
Going back many decades, it used to be the sewer cap.
Yeah.
That was home plate, and a sewer cap out by second, and then one further out in the outfield. But it's interesting. But they're self-hitting it and running.
No, there's a pitcher. No, there's a pitcher. There's 6 players on the field at one time. They're actually playing on various different, Little League and softball fields all across Long Island, going all the way out east. So no, they're playing on like real baseball fields and actual pitching, and then there's 5 people out in the field, fielding the ball, and they can also still throw the ball at a runner to get them out. So it's actually a pretty cool version of the game that they're playing.
Sounds really interesting. By the way, I wanted to mention that there was a major league player named Larry Doby.
Yes.
He was an 8-time All-Star catcher for the Cleveland Indians, and he was the first black to break the color barrier.
Yes.
And he was being interviewed one day in the locker room. He said, how did you get so good? And you got a great hand-eye coordination. How'd you get so good? Well, I used to play stickball in the South, and we would crush Coca-Cola cans for first base, second base, third base, and we would throw with a tennis ball at the time. So that's, like you said before, it develops hand-eye coordination to hit a ball coming to you on such a small surface.
Yes.
And then if you're doing the fast pitch version of mine, it's even a greater challenge. So trying to hit a curveball, slider, sinker.
Awesome. Ron, thank you so much. Ron Babineau, the former commissioner of the United States Stickball League, joining us here on the show. Ron, thanks a lot. Let's catch up again soon, and definitely look us up when you come back up to Long Island.
Well, thank you very much. I enjoy it.
All right, thanks. Ron Babineau, the former commissioner of the United States Stickball League. We still have some more to go here on Sports Bash. When we come back, we'll have What's Hot at TicketBash.com, the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. We'll tell you about the Coach's Collectibles item of the week, and I can promise you this when we come back, before the end of the show, you will hear the F word. It may not necessarily come out of my mouth, but you will hear the F word when we come back after this. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage.
In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission: to bring moments of joy and hope to critically ill children by granting wishes that make their dreams come true. Since that day, we have touched the lives of over 8,500 families, raising over $43 million to grant wishes that offer a beacon of light in their darkest times. These precious wishes cost an average of $6,700 each, and your support is crucial to our mission. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. And with 76 cents of every dollar going directly to supporting our families, you can rest assured your support truly changes lives. The Marty Lyons Foundation operates 11 chapters in 14 states now, working tirelessly to reach as many children as we can. This dedication goes hand in hand with our commitment to transparency and accountability, earning us top ratings on Charity Navigator, Great Nonprofits, and Candid, which underscores our dedication to those we serve. The Marty Lyons Foundation grants wishes to children ages 3 to 17. And what really makes this foundation so special is our willingness to grant not only a first wish, but also consider a second wish to a child who continues to battle a life-threatening illness. We stand by these children, offering them hope and strength through the power of dreams, giving our children the courage to wish for more.
What's your purpose in life? Is your purpose in life to live in the big house and drive the nice car? No. Your purpose in this life is to make it a little bit better for those that follow, and realize that we live for today to see a better tomorrow.
Visit MartyLyonsFoundation.org to learn more and get involved.
Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com and the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund. And this segment of Sports Bash is brought to you by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage. Don't forget to mention Sports Bash and get a free dessert with your meal. Thanks again to Ron Babineau for talking stickball with us in the last segment. It is now time for What's Hot at TicketBash.com on the local sports calendar. Tonight, the Knicks host the Heat at the Garden. Tomorrow, St. John's will host William & Mary at Carnesecca Arena. And on Sunday, the Giants host the Packers while the Rangers host the Red Wings. Speaking of hockey, how about that Islander game last night? Up 2-0 against Golden Knights in Vegas. The Islanders give up the lead. They fall behind 3-2. Matt Barzal with a late goal. And then a short-handed goal for J.G. Pajot in overtime last night. And the Islanders continue winning away from UBS Arena. Upcoming shows and concerts. The Christmas Spectacular, starring the Rockettes, now playing at Radio City Music Hall. Z100's Jingle Ball coming up December 12th at the Garden. Stevie Nicks at Barclays Center November 19th. The Jonas Brothers are at UBS Arena November 19th and December 21st. Get tickets to these events and more at the lowest prices with no service fees at TicketBash.com. It's time for the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. We post a new question every Tuesday and Thursday on the Sports Bash Media X/Twitter page. And again, we did a Jet question yesterday. and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but they keep doing things, and they wind up being, the subject of more poll questions. So we'll do it again after they lost to New England last night. Enough of Justin Fields, enough of Tyrod Taylor in my eyes, which leads to this question. So you're already going to know what my answer is. Should the Jets give Brady Cook a chance to start a quarterback, undrafted free agent rookie quarterback who is technically the number 3? I mean, we know Justin Fields is not an NFL quarterback now. We know what Tyrod Taylor is. What do you have to lose by putting Brady Cook? Tony, right? I mean,
agreed.
Let it cook. So let's put Brady Cook in the game and let him start some games here and see what he can do. So so the two choices, by the way, were yes and no, and you can tell when I say yes, 100%. It's time for the Coach's Collectibles item of the week, and I just talked about Matt Barzell scoring the game-tying goal last night in Vegas, leading the way for Peugeot's game winner. So this week, our Coach's Collectibles item of the week has been this Matt Barzell autographed 11x14 photo. Coach's Collectibles, your number one source for 100% authentic sports memorabilia and live public autograph events. And here are some upcoming events to take note of. Islanders forward Emil Heineman, Wednesday, December 3rd from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Ripett Card Company in Cedarhurst. Then we have Mets broadcasters Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, and Ron Darling, the best booth in baseball, on Saturday, December 6th. I got from Tony. Saturday, December 6th, 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at Mulcahy's in Wantagh. On Sunday, December 14th, at Mulcahy's in Wantagh, they'll host two big events. From 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., a public signing with Terry Collins and umpire Tom Hallion, and from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., a signing with Mets third baseman Brett Beatty. For those who don't know the story behind Terry Collins and umpire Tom Hallion, this is really a great thing that Dom at the Coach's Collectibles put together. So for those who don't know the story, if you remember, when the Mets and Phillies were in the playoffs, that whole thing with Chase Utley, and then Chase Utley went to go play for the Dodgers. So in 2016, Noah Syndergaard is pitching to Chase Utley, who was then with the Dodgers, and he throws at him. And he gets thrown out of the game. And out of the dugout comes Terry Collins, all pissed off that Noah Syndergaard gets thrown out of the game and gets into this argument with Tom Hallion.
Talk to me. Talk to me.
Tommy, that's fucking bullshit.
Terry, talk to me. Then you talk to me about it.
Okay. You gotta give us a shot.
You know what?
You gotta give us a shot,
Okay,
Tom.
listen to me. Let me hear what I'm saying, okay? You get your shot. You had your shot right there in the situation.
Well, why
you
not?
know the situation,
I know
Terry.
it. Why don't we get a shot, Tommy?
Because that makes it worse. Terry, that makes it fucking worse.
I know it. But MLB did nothing to that guy. Nothing.
Okay, I can't control that, Terry. I can't control that. You know as well as I do Terry, you know where I stand on the whole fucking situation.
But you're better than that, Tommy. You know that.
Terry, listen, I'm telling you, our ass is in the jackpot now. Okay?
One of the best. I mean, that argument puts, like Billy Martin, may he rest in peace. I mean, always used to argue with the umpires. But I mean, that was just, and Earl Weaver. I always thought Earl Weaver was great with arguing with the umpires. But the Terry Collins, Tom Hallion thing was so epic and so awesome. And we don't curse too much on this program. We do it every now and then. But there was to edit out, to bleep out the curse words for that would not do that argument any justice. But Tony, you love that segment, and when you think back at that, and how cool is it that those two guys are going to be doing an autograph signing together?
That's very cool. They recently did. Terry Collins has a podcast.
Yes,
and Tom Hallion came on and they did that together, and that was awesome too. So yeah, that's a great idea. Whoever
we're
came
trying
up
to
with
get
that.
Terry here on the show.
Oh, that would be.
I've reached out to an intermediary to see if we can get Terry Collins on the show. That'd be fun. But my connection with Terry Collins goes back a little further. So when I was in college at Buffalo State, I was an intern for the Buffalo Bisons baseball team, and Terry Collins was at one point the manager of the Buffalo Bisons, and so now that's great. I don't think you can watch that video enough and continue to laugh. It's just unbelievable. So again, for more information on all of those events, visit coachescollectiblesny.com. The John Thiessen Children's Foundation will hold their annual holiday gala on Thursday, December 4th at Mulcahy's in Wantagh. The foundation is celebrating 34 years of giving. For more information, please visit jtcf.org or call 516-679-5098. Now, next week, we're going to have our regular schedule, Tuesday and Thursday of next week, 1 o'clock. The week after is Thanksgiving. So we're going to be on, I think Monday and Tuesday of Thanksgiving week, right? I think did we talk about Monday and Tuesday? Or Tuesday and Wednesday? I
think it's Tuesday and Wednesday.
Tuesday, you're open on Wednesday. Yes, it was Tuesday and Wednesday. The following week will be Tuesday and Wednesday here on the show. And that's it. Our ass is in the jackpot, so we got to go. And that was my shot. I got my shot. So that will do it for this edition of Sports Bash, presented by Ticketbash.com and the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund. Thanks to my guest, Ron Babineau, for talking stickball with us here on the program. Thanks to our social media coordinator, Connor Calvin. Thanks to Tony Walker and everyone here at Governor's Comedy Club. Sports Bash is sponsored by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, by Coaches Collectibles, and by the Marty Lyons Foundation. For our entire crew, I'm Peter Schwartz. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We're back on Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Have a great weekend, everyone.